Good afternoon, everyone. Our team name is Fox. My teammates are Sheikh Fasibullah and Sandeep Macharatu, and myself, Saidip Katta. Today, we gonna give presentation on documentation tool generator. The tool assigned for is Javadoc. Our agenda for today's presentation is I'll briefly discuss about the importance of documentation and the tool Javadoc. The functions and features of Javadoc will be explained by Fasi, followed by advantages and tool demo by Sandeep Macharatu. Let me ask you one question before going into the actual tool. Why do you need documentation? What happens if there is no proper documentation? So let us consider a scenario of a user who went to the market to buy one product like a broadband connection. So he wants to install it by himself. If there is no proper documentation for the particular tool, he can't work on it. Like he can't install that broadband connection. So the documentation depicts how the system works. It trains the users about what are the features and functionalities involved in it and designing new systems. Let us consider a new employee is assigned on a ongoing project which is on a particular tool or software or another domain. If there is no proper documentation for the tool, he can't know access or know the features of the tool, so he can't work on it. So documentation is useful for designing new systems and communicating with others. For example, the stakeholders who invested in a particular product or software wants to know about the progress or the functionalities of the system. So good proper documentation gives the complete scenario of the features and functionalities as they may not have the technical knowledge. So why do we actually need a tool for documentation? The documentation directly affects the market of the tool. Let us see in user perspective. If a user buys a product and it doesn't have a proper documentation and he doesn't know what are the features involved in it, like will he suggest others to buy it? Will he propose to buy again that same product again? Absolutely no. So the market of the product will be affected by lack of proper documentation. Like in a developer point of view, if a certain tool is if a developer is assigned in a new product, as we discussed in the importance of documentation, he can't know the functionalities of and features of that system, so he can't develop new system. And in stakeholders point of view, like if the stakeholders doesn't get the exact features and functionalities of the system, he may not be encouraged to invest in the ongoing project. So proper documentation depicts the users, the developers or the people working on it, and also the stakeholders who have taken part in the development of the tool or product. And um, let us have brief description about the Javadoc. So Javadoc is a documentation generating tool used for Java source code files. So Javadoc was created by Sun Microsystems, but later the Sun Microsystem is acquired by Oracle. So the doc comments is the de facto industry standard for documenting Java classes. So the best thing about the Javadoc is the documentation is done simultaneously while coding or developing the project. Just similar to the Java comments which we use in the source code, Javadoc comments also follows almost the same syntax, except there will be two stars after the backslash. So the current version of Javadoc is Javadoc 5. So now my teammate Fasi will continue about the features of the Javadoc.
Thank you, Sajid. My friend Sajid has explained about why we actually need, why we need to document all our project code and what is the importance of software documenting tool. So now I'll go ahead and I will give you the brief discussion on what are the different features that Java Doc tool supports and what are the various advantages we can achieve by using these features. Starting with that, also what exactly mean by documenting project details, documenting packages, documenting, even we can do the whole, the project document, even we can do the modules like as a package, or even document we can classes, and we can separately document the methods. So Javadoc provides the features. So what exactly mean by documenting the project details? So as you have seen here, documenting is we are giving a brief discussion, a brief explanation about the project. So who actually, the author of the project, who has created that, and what is the version of like the project we are using, what is the current version. And you can see over here at the rate, like different tags over here. At the rate author specifies the name of the author, and at the rate version specifies the name of the version currently we are using, and at the rate since is nothing but it's just since the date the project has started. So everything we can like document here by using the tags. So Javadoc provide the features of like doing everything using the tags. So coming again like for as I said, we can document the whole thing, the project, and even we can document the modules, as I said, separate classes, methods. So you can see over here, we are documenting the methods, separate methods. So as you know, for a good readability of project, we can write some description about the methods. So here you can see we are writing some description about the methods, like and also we can even write the description for the parameters inside the constructor. As you can see here, like see first name, as of as I mentioned you, right, there are like certain tags by using which we can like specify what exactly that the tag does. So here at the rate param, we are telling that C first name is first name of a customer in a as you can see over here, C name is the first name of the constructor. We are defining the parameters in constructor. C first name as a first name of a customer. Similarly, we can do for every attribute. Like as you can see over here, we have like string C last name, string C street. So we can define using the at the rate param. So again, coming like as I said, like the main features here is using the tags. So here we have like different tags used for different purposes. Coming to over here, you can see over here at the rate inherit documents. So in any like object oriented programming, we can inherit the features of like superclass into the subclass just by using the inheritance concept. So the same thing we can do for the documentation. Here it specifies we can inherit the documentation from the nearest superclass by using the tag at the rate inherit doc. So how we can use that, it will be explained in the demo part. And as you know, every method will it gives returns certain sort of value, maybe it can be any value. So the about that one we can specify in the method description using the at the rate value. So we can specify what value it's returning, maybe it could be any value. So and coming to other tags like at the rate link, so it's kind of similar link. If you're writing different methods, or like we have like 10 to 15 more methods in our program. So if like one method is like having some reference, or if we want to refer to other, we can directly put the link over there, so that the developers can know that we can refer to some other methods. We can use the method syntax over there. So and the both the this at the rate link and at the rate plain link plain are similar, but only thing is that it is only the plain text and it directly refers to the link. And coming to some other tags like at the rate category. So at the rate category tag is nothing but we can differentiate, like if we have packages, class, method, so we can uh, differentiate by using the category still. uh, and coming to other tags, like we have like mainly three different tags, like standard tags, proposed tags, and third party tags. All the tags which I have mentioned now, like or using the at the rate tags, they are the standard tags. And what exactly mean by proposed tags? If the developer wants to specify or propose his own tags, so he can do that by using the proposed tag. Like for example, at the rate tutorial, if you want to specify it as a tutorial in different things, so he can propose it to the Java community people, like he wants to propose this tag to them so that it can be released from the next version of the Javadoc version. And third party tags, as we can use the tags from different tools, different IDEs, and we can make full use of that in our Javadoc tools. And as I said, the main important feature of Javadoc tool is we can export it to the like source code into the HTML documents. It's a biggest good advantage of using the Javadoc tool. And this we can do by using just javadoc star.java, and we can specify the file name or path of that, and we can directly export the source code into the HTML document. So how exactly we can do that, we'll show that in demo part by my friend Sandeep. And coming to other part like advantage, it will be like handled by like Sandeep by giving the demo part.
Okay. Till now we have seen all the features, high level features and different tags and about the tool. Let's go quick into the demo. Like as my colleague already said that the Javadoc will be integrated with any kind of IDE. Like we have chosen an Eclipse as an IDE in order to give the tool demo. So here we have created all the class files as a normal demo class files. Let's go and execute the commands like that we have seen in the presentation. We have different tags that I already that my colleague already discussed about the tags. Like we can have author name, and we have already the description is already mentioned here. And let's go quick into the actual main important tags. Like we have param, like what are the parameters of that particular main function. We have one parameter called rguess, so that's why we have mentioned here as an rguess. And like we have another one like category. Category is nothing but in order to show whether the function is generated automatically generated one or the developer developed that one. In order to differentiate those two things, we have created the Javadoc has given the category tag, and we have inherit doc also. Like for example, if the full time is extended by waiter, there we have one get details in employee we have get details, and it was inherited in the full time, so that's why we have given it as an inherit doc. So in the documentation, we are the developer or the person who is going to see the documentation will get to know that this get details is inherited from the employee get details. So like we'll show in the HTML docs, like finally once we export all those things, then we are going to we'll get to know how it is reflecting in the output of that particular Javadoc. And we have image source, like we can give the images here. Like we have here the doc root. Doc root is nothing but the relative path of that particular image file. Like we have so many images here. If like in a project we have so many images. So in order to give for all the images, there will be one relative path which will be same for all the images. In order to give for every time the same relative path, we can give the @doc root. So the documentation, the Javadoc will going to take the relative path automatically. And we have so many tags, like we have exception tag, like exception, whether if the get details is going to throw some kind of null pointer exception, we can give it like null pointer exception. If you press Ctrl plus space, it is going to show the suggestions and it will be automatically filled. And we have another tag like deprecated. For example, if you show the function as a deprecated one, for example, let us take another function like get details here. Let us create one other function like public void some get last name. So if you want to show this function as deprecated is nothing but you want to show that so just click Control space, it will be automatically shown. So here it is going to shown as a dashed line. That means the API is no longer is using the old method. For example, in the old method, the developers are using some kind of array list, and now they have changed it into the collections. So and they don't want to change it immediately because the project is in live. So in order to change it, if they remove the complete get details, then it may affect the project. So in order to show them in the documentation that the API is not going to use the old method, the Javadoc is going to give the deprecated deprecated tag which allows like it adds a comment indicating that the API should no longer be used. That means the API is no longer be used, and that function is no longer a new function. Like we have some other function which is similar to that is going to execute we are going to use the same function with the different some kind of collections or some other way of method. So that is called deprecated. We are going to show each and everything that we have declared here in the final output, so that the user will get to know how it is going to display in the actual documentation. And we have so many other docs that we have explained in this, like inherit doc that I have explained, and we have written whether the parameter is going to return anything or let us go quick into this. Like for example, at the rate return value, for example here we have at the rate control space return value is void, so I'm going to return the void only. So in order to show into the documentation, we have the return tag. Like we have so many tags. If you press control space, we have so many category: deprecated, exception and throws. We have two different things. This is the throws one, and this is the exception one. What is the difference between the exception and the throws? There is no that much difference. Just for example, if we have used exception, null point exception. So if the user reads the documentation, there is a redundant word in the exception tag, like exception null pointer exception. If anyone reads like that, there is a redundant word called exception. So in order to remove that word, the Javadoc has introduced the throws, like throws null pointer exception. There in the spelling those three words, there is no redundant word in that particular sentence. So just there is no difference between the throws and the exception. Just in order to remove the redundancy in the documentation, they have introduced the throws tag. And the second thing is the programming aspect, we will use the throws as an exception, like throws. We'll use throws as a keyword. So in order to show the same thing, they have introduced the throws as a keyword. And we have so many other things, like we have already explained exception, throws, and deprecated that I have already explained. And we have code. What is the use of the code? Code, like in the documentation, we are going to display only the method names and what are the parameters and what are the attributes. That's it. We don't display the actual complete code here. Whatever it was there here, we are not going to show it in the documentation. So in order to show some kind of code in the documentation in a different way, in a different format compared to the plain text, they have introduced the code at the rate code. For example, void get details. You want to show this code in that particular return. For example, you want to show int, okay, return 0. So you want to show this as a code in the documentation in a different format, like other than the plain text. They have used it at the rate code. And we have so many other things, like doc root that I have already explained. It's a relative path to the generated document root directory. At the rate value, for example, you have taken in the project, you have taken pi value as a pi value as 1.23, or for example, hash variable name like pi value as 3.18. You want to show this constant value in the documentation. So there we can use the value tag. Displays the value of a constant. And we have link and link plane in order to give the link to the particular like employee. In that particular full time, for example, full time is linked to the employee, right? That I have already said. So here you can give the link. Sorry, link like employee. It is going to link with the employee get details. Get details. So you can give the link like this. So it will be automatically linked to that particular get details. Like here we can give the employee get details. So it will be automatically linked to this. So we are going to show all these in the particular document, and we have so many other tags like category C, and we have so many HTML tags also. We can use those HTML tags here in order to show that like some kind of heading. So once we have created all these things, just you need to go to the command prompt. You need to execute the command. Like first you need to go to the workspace that we have defined the project, student and source, and Javadoc space. You need to give the Java files. You can give the complete package, or you can give the all the Java files. Yeah, it will be loaded and it will be displayed. Like we have one kind of exception here. Don't worry about those exceptions, because we have created one doclet that I am going to explain in further. Like just you need to go to there where we can find some kind of HTML files here. You can go and you can have the complete documentation here, like index.html. If you double click on that, if you select those index.html, there we are going to show that. So it is taking a lot of time. So here we have all the classes that we have displayed, that we have written in the Eclipse. We have chef, customer, employee, all those details. If you click on, for example, full time, we have one constructor which is a full time, which have all these parameters, and we have one method get details. There we have the get details of employees as a description that I have mentioned here, like yeah, getting details of employees. So here the employee description is coming for the full-time get details, because here we have used an inherit doc. That's why in the employee, the description of the employee get details is showing in the full-time get details, because we have used the inherit doc. And we have two methods, order and serve food, and we have methods that was inherited get last name, and we have here I have given like code int get details code. So here it is in the document, it is going to show like here it is going to show in a different format, the coding format for public void get details. Compared to the plain text, it is going in it is showing in a different format. And we have one image, like in the full time we have one image, like here image source of the javadoc.png, here the image source. So it is going to show those details also. and it overwrites because we are showing like link to that particular get details. So it is showing overrides get details in class employee. If we click on here, it will be it will be redirected to the employee document. And we have already displayed at the rate exception null pointer exception. So it is going to show throws java.lang.null pointer exception for that particular function get details. And we have a tree structure also, which will have all those things like what are the classes, what are the doclet it is there, and it will be shown in the tree structure. And we have deprecated methods also, like we have displayed in the at the rate deprecated. Here we have displayed like at the rate deprecated for the get last name. So that's why employee.get last name is deprecated method. Here all the deprecated methods will be shown. And these are all the tags that we have selected. There are so many tags in that particular Javadoc, where we can find it in the Javadoc user guide. And the main advantage of the Javadoc is you can create your own API. What is the building the API? You can build your own API. Like here we have java.applet. For that we have description. This description will be done by using the Javadoc that we have already done. So you have automatically built the API. You have built the source code, and parallelly you have built the description for that particular source code. So the complete API is gonna build. So let's go into the presentation. Like we have seen all those tags, and we have so many other tags where we can find it in the internet. And coming to the advantages, the main advantages is we have so many tags like standard tags, proposed tags, third-party tags that my colleague Pasi has explained about the differences between those things. Where standard tags that we have seen in the document and we have seen in the tool demo. And the proposed tags are nothing but as a developer, as it is an open source, any developer who is interested, they can propose some new kind of tags. So if it was approved, then it will be shown from the next version. And we have so many third-party tags. Third-party tags are nothing but you can use the doclet. For example, till now we have seen the documentation in a format that the Javadoc is going to give. Like this is the default documentation that the Javadoc is going to provide. But if a user want to know only the methods in that particular document, then he can use the doclet. Like here we can see the doclet, like list parameters. Here we have, this is the doclet programming code where we can write the code and we can get all the classes of that particular root. Like the user want to know only the classes, then he can classify those things and he can get those things, customize those things. And it also helps in communicating, communicating with the other stakeholders, communicating with the users, communicating between the developers, that my colleague has explained, Saidi. And it can be exported into the various formats, including the HTML docs. It will be exported into any kind of formats by using the doclets. You can customize on your own way, and it is very fast. Like it can create. We have one example that we found in the internet. Like the Javadoc is going to create 150 packages in just 15 seconds, so it won't take that much of time. And the best other thing is like it's an open source. Like anyone can contribute. Who is interested can contribute to that particular tool. And it is free to use, like you don't need to pay any kind of thing, and you don't have to install any kind of thing. Just if you have a Java, the Javadoc will be there in your system. And if you want to learn more about the tags and all those stuff regarding the Javadoc, you can find those resources. Like you can find the details about the doclets in that particular link. And if you want to know the coding standards, like how to do the well document by using the Javadoc tags, how to do the efficient document by using the Javadoc tags, we can go to the particular blog and you can find it. This is one of the best blogs that I have found. And we have a tool user guide where we'll find all the tags and their usage and how it is going to use. And If you have any comments on this presentation, you can go just click on this link and you can comment on that presentation. And that's all about the tool. And if you have any questions, you can go to this link and you can post the comments. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Iya, sir. Nah, tadi hari kan sih. Sudah kamu sih.